Hey, welcome to the prelude for episode 15 of Invest with Instinct. I'm excited for this one because it's another kind of episode where we focus on people that have invested more in themselves than anything. And Adam is a good friend of mine, going back a few years, who is kind of a great example of that entrepreneurial mindset, that hustling mentality, that figure out a way to get things done, to build things. And we talk a lot about active and passive income in this and how he's grown things, challenges along the way, what his goals are. And it's just a really good conversation to give a new way of thinking about, investing with instinct. Because maybe sometimes it doesn't feel right for people to just invest in assets or trade or whatever, but they'd rather invest in building something themselves, building a personal brand and putting their money where their mouth is. So I hope you guys enjoy this conversation. I thought it was great. I always love talking to Adam, and enjoy. Grinding away here. And cool guest today. It's a good friend of mine. His name, Adam Williams. I think you can see it there on the screen. And Adam and I go way back to the NFT days, way back in the day, the crypto world that everybody is, it's irrelevant. Actually, it's kind of coming back around again, I suppose. But yeah, we met there, and then we've met in real life a few times, talked about a bunch of stuff. And this guy, he's just an interesting dude. Interesting, bald, but interesting, So Adam, what's going on? How are you? What's the good word? Are you still out there in the desert, I assume?
I am. Everything's good. Life is good. Still here in Scottsdale, Arizona. I love it out here. Been out here 22, 23 years now. And I can't complain. Sunshine, desert, rattlesnakes. Love it.
Yeah, this guy sent me a video of a cougar in his backyard at one point, and I was we live on a canyon, but I don't know if I've ever seen a cougar, bobcat, or whatever it was over there. What was that thing crawling through your yard?
Well, the cougars have been following me around since I was a young man. So it's
Oh, okay.
they keep coming around. But no, it was actually a mountain lion. So we get bobcats out here, of course, but then the mountain lion, which are significantly larger, they look similar. But we get those out here too. And so my wife and I woke up one day, and I don't know, a month or so ago, and we had this big window out to our backyard area. And literally, I cracked my eyes open, and this thing's just walking across our lawn like no big deal, just chilling. So, and it just hopped up on the fence and sat there. And I was like, wow, this is something special.
Those things are scary. But yeah,
Yeah.
like living in some of these areas, it's interesting because you finally like remember that nature is still like pretty savage and still going on all around you. You know?
It is. It is. Yeah. Keep your puppies inside for sure.
Yeah. All right. So one of the reasons I wanted to bring Adam on was because he's a guy who kind of represents. I think people are starting to move more towards this direction as the world of 9 to 5 is put into question, and the system is put into question, and everybody's starting to ask themselves, especially after the pandemic and work from home, like, how can I invest more in myself rather than just what everybody deems to be normal. And you're a good representation of somebody who's kind of done different things throughout his life and kind of chased cool dreams in different channels, and have like a pretty high risk tolerance. And I know you have a family as well. So I wanted to kind of just start by, over your arc of your, let's call it, career, um, going from younger Adam to current Adam, what have you kind of gotten involved in, and then like has your kind of like risk tolerance and like things changed? Were you like hyper aggressive with things for a long time, and has that has that pulled back? Do you tend to lean more towards specific types of ways to try and make money or invest in your ability to network? How has that all kind of gone together over these decades that you've been exploring different kind of avenues?
Yeah. I mean, going way back, I was always driven to work and figure things out on my own and be successful, like a lot of people. And I started working for my father at 12 years old, and then realized quickly that he wasn't going to pay me anywhere near as much money as I needed to make to buy a nice pair of Jordans at that time. And then I ended up moving out on my own at 14 years old, believe it or not, and started my first business. I actually lied to Fred Meyer grocery store in Vancouver, Washington, where I lived at the time, and told them I was 16. I had a nice little thin mustache, so I got the job there. And then I would sell other goods in the parking lot while I was pushing carts around and stocking shelves and do all these other things. So whatever type of, like, I could go break down candy and different things and buy like in bulk and then resell them out in the parking lot to kids and patrons of the store. So I would do that. And then my next business I opened was a detail shop. And so I started these active income businesses as a kid. And what I realized was they were very up and down, right? If I had a lot of customers one day, I might make $20, $30. If I had zero customers, I made $0. And Lord knows the job wasn't paying me anything, especially after taxes. So, and then same with the detail shop. You would do really well for a month, and then you'd have to go out and get more clients, and they'd move to the next detail shop that was going to give them a better deal. So what I realized quickly was these active income businesses, although you have to create an active income, you have to somehow move that into a passive income strategy. And went on to create other businesses, consult for other businesses that people I knew owned, and help them grow, and owned a marketing company for over 15 years as more of an active income strategy. But what I began doing back in 2004 was transitioning that active income that was very up and down into the passive income strategy of real estate. And never really looked back. I've always continued to do that. So my current day to day is I created a fund, Elevest Capital. We invest in passive income strategies through multifamily real estate and commercial real estate, triple net lease. So think the buildings that like Starbucks is in, and those type of businesses, AAA credit businesses on 20-year leases, and then large multifamily, kind of like what Grant Cardone and Cardone Capital do. So we take accredited investors that have an active income producing job or whatever they do to create an income for them and their family. And we help them diversify that through the fund into passive income strategies where they can get a monthly payment, and then obviously share in the exit when we exit certain projects. And that served me really well, because a lot of very, very intelligent people that know all about real estate and they know about these things, they just don't have the time to go learn it or manage it or become a part of it or do it themselves, because they're so busy in their day to day. I mean, James, you're a trader, like you have to focus on what you're doing, right? And although you're interested in real estate, you may not have the time to go manage it the way that you would need to make sure it's a successful venture for you. So that's kind of been my journey, and I stick to what I know now. That's what I do.
What was it about? Because like for me, I've always been like kind of an eat what you kill, I guess active income type of guy, right? I'm playing poker back in the day, or I'm working a job, or I'm trading, and if I win, I win. If I lose, I lose. Like, where along the lines did you realize passive income was important, right? What stuck out about it to you? Because I'm only coming around now to being like, man, it'd be nice if like my lifestyle was covered by passive income, and then the cherry on top is active income at that point, right? But
Right.
like, where did that jump out at you as being? Did you have people around you that had that, and you were like, wait a second, that's sweet, or like, what was it?
A little bit of both, but primarily for me, it was in the businesses that I was starting myself, which there were several. I realized that I would have really great months, and I would have several months that were really dry with next to nothing or barely covering payroll. And I realized that I was on this treadmill, and in your 20s and 30s, that's great. You can be on that treadmill and it's all good. You're trying to figure out kind of what you want to do and what makes you happy and what you're excited and passionate about, and that's fine. But I also, when I turned 40, which I had realized this before 40, but when I turned 40, it was like, I got to kick this passive income thing into high gear, because I don't want to be 60 and 70 and 80 years old on that treadmill. It's going to get really tiring. And I think both are equally as important. Everybody talks about passive income, and that's beautiful. And oh, I want passive income, and that's great. It's really challenging to get a strong passive income stream if you don't have a strong active income stream, because you have to either start a business and grow it that's going to create a residual passive income for you, or take what you're really good at, what you know, what makes you money for your family every single month, and take a portion of that and put it into a passive income stream that you know and trust, which for me, again, is real estate. There are several others out there, but for me, real estate is the tried and true. But that's really where I realized it. I said, I got to get off this treadmill at some point in my life. And look, I'm still on. I still have active income streams. I still work every day on some of my other businesses, but growing that passive income is first and foremost everything that I focus on at this point.
Yeah, so I guess it's trying to come around to that a little bit earlier. So like I'm 36 now, and I feel like I'm just starting to think about it. It seems like maybe around that age is when you started treating it more seriously too. But yeah, like that, people talk about passive income like because they want to like just chill and fuck off. Um, but in reality, to me, the dream is like passive income and then active income doing something that you just really enjoy, right? Like something
Exactly.
that fulfills you day to day, but the pressure of performance in there is a little bit alleviated, right? Like I've talked to you a little bit how I'm going through this period of trading where if I had some sort of passive income that were assisting in just day to day lifestyle expenses, there's a little less pressure to perform in the here and now because your time can expand a little bit, right? Like it's not like no, I need to win now and I need to keep moving up on this linear pace. Um, it's finding that balance because I don't know, just having like some sort of passive income stream set up and then you just like chilling doesn't
Yeah.
really make sense, right? And you're not that type of person, right? You like to have things going on.
Yeah, I get bored sitting on a beach drinking Mai Tais. I mean, do I enjoy it? Sure, for about 30 minutes. And then my mind starts racing on what I can go do. And look, as you and I have talked about this, I truly believe that happiness equals sense of accomplishment. And as humans, if we don't have a sense of accomplishment, we will wither away and just explode, or at least I will. So people are like, oh, I want to get to retirement and I want to be done working and this and that. That's because you're doing something that you don't enjoy.
Yeah.
Period. If you woke up every single morning and what you do to put food on the table, you truly enjoyed and you were truly passionate about, and you had a real sense of accomplishment at the end of each day, you'd never want to stop doing it. Would you go lay on the beach? Would you hop on the boat? Would you do whatever you enjoy doing as a hobby? Sure. But you would never stop thinking about it because you love it and it provides you a sense of accomplishment. And
Yeah.
that's really what I'm striving for. I went through many, 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 many years as an entrepreneur creating businesses just to make money. And I woke up one day a few years ago, and I looked at my wife and I said, I am never going to work in a business ever again just to make money. It has to be something that I am extremely passionate about. It has to be something that I enjoy doing. It has to be something that I can do it in my sleep, because it's just second nature to me. And that's the shift that made me really start to enjoy what I was doing.
Hmm. That's a great tip. What skills along the way did you start to realize Adam was good at? Um, when I'm taking a shot in the dark against you, I always tell you that like you have a way with people and networking and talking and have that presence physically. And I know we've talked about how do you expand that too into the digital world, but what skills have you noticed and leveraged about yourself over the years and were you better at things back in the day um, that you aren't good at now and kind of vice versa?
I'd say relationships for me. Relationships are everything in business, both in your personal and professional life. Relationships are key. And over the years, I mean, back when I was a kid and in my 20s, I had no idea I was hanging out with knuckleheads. And even though I was working and running businesses and stuff, on the weekends, I'd be hanging out with, knuckleheads. And that's fine. I mean, you got to kind of explore that. But I started to realize as I began to mature that your circle is everything. The people that you choose to go out to dinner with, the people that you choose to have over to your home, you get invited to their events and weddings and whatever's going on in their life. Those people are extremely important, and fostering and maintaining relationships with those people is important. And it doesn't have to be a lot. Sometimes the smaller your circle, the better, in my opinion, as long as it's very high quality people that are aligned with you. And so I got really, really good at, and I love it. I mean, my wife and I go to charity events constantly. We were at one this last weekend. We go to, other events and different networking things. I'm going to one tonight on self-directed IRAs, and there'll probably be 30, 40 people there. I get really good at not only talking to people and networking with people. That's one thing, but simultaneously evaluating, is this somebody that meets my checklist of somebody that I want in our circle? Or is this somebody that, hey, they're a nice person, whatever, I can have a quick 5-10 minute conversation with them, but I'm going to go ahead and move to the next. So I think it's really that. It's, for me, what I've gotten really good at is talking to people, networking with people, but also evaluating people to determine if they're going to be somebody that I want to continue a relationship with or not. And then once you determine that, you move them into the bucket where you're going to foster that relationship. What value can I provide to them? What can I offer them? How can I help them? Because it's definitely not all about you. It's about the relationship. And then it always comes back. Maybe they're not a person. This is just how my mind works. Maybe they're not a person that directly wants to invest in my fund into the real estate assets. But guess what? Their aunt is, or their uncle is, or somebody I would have never met in their circle is, and they tell them, oh, you have to go talk to Adam. He's doing this, this, and this. And that's just how it works. So I get really excited about that, and I enjoy it. My entire business is based on relationships and talking to people. That's it.
Yeah. So when I hear that, it's interesting because like you have the initial thing is like for a lot of people is going to a charity event and talking to people is like way out of their comfort zone already, right? Because like so many people are still kind of, especially the younger crowd, is so digitally native and not kind of used to that. So it still is all about them, right? Like there's this era of like, how am I going to come across the people? How am I going to meet these people? When do I approach people? And who knows who? And all, like it's very worried about themselves, where you've kind of done so much of that now that comfort zone is like level 1, right? You've broken that comfort barrier so many times that it's cool. Like that's not now the thing you're focused on. The thing you're focused on now is evaluation of the people you're meeting and whether or not there can be mutually beneficial things. They could be good. Maybe I'm wasting my time here. So you're on to like the next kind of step of that process, and then you can move quicker into like a deeper relationship. Is that
Yeah,
kind of what you're saying?
very, very true. Yeah. And to kind of add on to something you just said, I've done just the opposite. So I'm a little old school in the sense that all of my relationship building has been face to face, and I have really held back on any sort of social capital. No, zero personal branding, Facebook, Instagram, the TikToks, all those things. Like I have really not done anything in that space, where everybody else, that's kind of where they start today, right? And they build that, and then they're nervous to go see somebody in person. I have the in-person thing down, and now my team has basically twisted my arm just this year and said, we got to get your personal branding going, because without your personal branding, that's the first thing you do. You meet somebody at an event, right? We go to this beautiful charity event last weekend for the Baller Dream Foundation. It's child cancer organization, and they actually make it really, as it sounds horrible, but they make it really fun. It's a cool event if you get to check it out. Ballerdream.org, I believe. Anyways, my wife and I go to this event. We meet some of the most incredible people there. They live next to us. We were actually invited by somebody that lives in our neighborhood, sit at the table, meeting great people. What do you do? What do you do? That's the normal conversation. And then what do? They leave. We have a great conversation. I give them my contact information and vice versa. They leave that event. They go look me up on social platforms, and I'm a complete ghost. I have nothing. And that's a problem, right? Because that's how people kind of unfortunately judge you these days. They can only meet you for have a 5, 10, 15, 20-minute conversation with you in person. They're going to go look at what is he posting, what is she doing on this, and what is he doing on that, and so forth. And so my team, just as the last year, has said, you have no choice. And so now I'm coming around to, and sorry, I'm going on a tangent, but like you mentioned this, and now I'm coming around. I did it opposite. I was meeting everybody in person. Now I'm coming around to the realization that I have to build this personal brand, if nothing else, for credibility, so people don't think I'm just some weirdo that is a ghost. And so we're working really hard on that now. If you went on my Instagram, you see I have probably no followers. I have nothing, but tune back in a year and hopefully we'll have some traction.
So, this is one thing you're good at is like, you have this thing facing you, this project, if you will, to get yourself out there. What were your first thoughts on how you're going to approach doing that? Are you bringing people on to surround you that know the skills there? Are you trying to do it yourself? Like, how do you approach a problem like that when you're starting now at zero for the digital life?
Yeah, at first I was extremely reluctant. If you look back, I never had a Facebook, I never had an Instagram, TikTok, no way, never had a YouTube, nothing. Even though one of my prior businesses was an event company, we put on very large scale events in Las Vegas, 2,500 people on average. And I did a bunch of promo and stuff for that. So my company's always had it, but I personally never had it. And frankly, nobody cares. What I'm learning is nobody cares about your company. They could give a shit less about your company. They care about you. They follow you, they're attracted to you, or they're turned off by you, whatever it may be. So it's the personal brand that I was lacking. And when my team came to me earlier this year and basically said, enough is enough, you're going to do this thing or else, I was terrified because, all the things float into your head. Well, what if this and what if that? And now I got to add this huge thing to my daily schedule that I've got to do and all these things. So me being me, I went out because I know nothing. I knew absolutely nothing about even starting accounts to posting and how to post stories and all these fancy stuff. So I went out and hired a team of experts. And I said, okay, if you guys are going to make me do this, we need people that can help me with this. And so even though it's me, I have to put in the time because people are going to either know, like, and trust me or dislike me or whatever it may be. So I have to be the one in front of the camera. I have to be the one speaking. I have a team that's doing all the editing, doing all the posting. My wife and I are starting a podcast right now. We started filming last week. It's called The Will to Win. And we're going to batch probably 40, 50 episodes before it launches early February of next year. But we have a whole production team behind that and everything it takes, because I said, if I'm going to do this, if I'm going to commit to doing this, I literally want to be able to live my life and do what I do and run my business and be with my family and enjoy I'm not passionate about social media, so I just won't do it. I'll wake up and I'll put it aside. So I want to be able to do the things I do that I love to do, have somebody follow me around with a camera and do the editing behind the scenes and post it for me. And I don't have to be involved at all. I'm just running my day-to-day life. I don't have to change who I am or do anything different. And so that's the direction I went with it.
Yeah, it's cool. It's a good example of like the day and age where if you do have some capital around that, instead of it investing that, let's say you have this idea that you want to run it for 2 years at least. Hey, I'm going to dedicate the next 2 years. I'm going all in on this. And by then we should know whether or not, hey, this thing's got a shot at being something really great for us, or maybe we sunset it. But if you were going to invest 150, 200K in Tesla, right? You're basically saying, no, I'm going to invest 150, 200K in me, right? Yeah. And me and my wife, and what we believe could be something bigger than the safe play, the quote unquote safe play of just investing in Tesla or the S&P or whatever, pick a fucking thing, right? Right. And I think that's what you've always done, is you've kind of invested right back into yourself when you have the chance. And, that's why I think somebody like you is probably going to have an advantage, is because you're removing all the stuff you don't want to do, or you're outsourcing it, I suppose. You're agreeing with yourself that you're going to do 100 episodes plus of this, where it involves the thing you are good at, and you do like doing, which is talking and creating ideas and networking and building relationships and all these things. And then you're just putting money in there in the just straight up belief that you're going to be able to make something out of it without expectations for a while, like we talked a little bit about, right? Like you don't necessarily think, oh, I need to make that money back right away. Let's try to get an advertisement as quickly as possible or something, right? It's more just like, hey, let's take care of the things, because if I get rid of the things I don't want to do, there's a much bigger chance that this is going to succeed, right?
Yep. That's exactly right. Yeah. Any of your guests should definitely go look this guy up if they don't already know who he is. Dr. Demartini, who I have probably devoured all of his content 2 or 3 times while going on walks and so forth, just podcasts and interviews he's been on, and he has all of his own stuff. Dr. Demartini he runs several, but one called the Breakthrough Experience. And his biggest thing is a lot, but this is the one that really resonated with me. Make a list of all of the things that you don't enjoy doing and stop doing them. Period. Yeah. And most people just can't do that. Like, he hasn't driven a car in 15 years because he doesn't enjoy driving. He would rather sit in the back and be chauffeured around. But instead of that time that he takes to go drive, or used to take to go drive, he got very clear about the things that he loves doing: speaking on stage, educating, writing, those things that he is truly passionate about. And he'll sit in the back of the car and do those things, which give him a much higher return than what it costs to have a full-time driver, right? And I know most of us are not at a stage in our life where we can hire somebody for $4,000 a month to drive us around. It's just an example, right? Cooking, driving, whatever your thing is that you don't like doing. For me, I went to go post on Instagram the first time. I said, I never want to do this again. Like, it's just not me. So I would rather pay somebody that they love doing that. It's what they do. It's their business. It's what they're passionate about. They'll put all their efforts into it. They'll make it beautiful, and hire them to do that. And then I can take that time, because it is very time consuming, believe it or not, when you're trying to post multiple times a day on multiple platforms. Take that time and invest it in the things that I love doing that are going to provide me a much higher return. And then it's just a return on somebody else's time. We're leveraging somebody else's time in the things that they love doing, that they've set out on their journey to do, because that's what they enjoy. And now I get my time back to go do what I enjoy doing that produces a higher income for me, so that I can pay for that person.
Yeah, I feel like it's scary to think about, right? And I think that's probably what holds a lot of people to do it, because it's not normal, right? Like, I've talked about the chef thing a lot, like the personal chef. Like, I've almost done it a couple times, but now that we have kids and it's a little bit more free for all, it's I think it made more sense a little while ago. But anyways, it's not normal to hire a personal chef, right? I've had this conversation with people. It's like, if there's a rich person and they have a personal chef, you're like, oh yeah, but they're rich. Like, of course they have a personal chef, right? Like, but for a quote unquote normal person to have a personal chef, that's like, who do you think you are? What, you know?
Yeah.
But the simple like arithmetic of it, of like, well, I was spending 2 hours a day on average, shopping, prepping, cleaning, eating. And it's 2 hours a day that, like, oh, I'm starting this podcast. I could have like edited up an episode, or prepared better for another episode I'm going to be recording, which will then perform better, which will then grow the audience larger, which all of these things that like, you don't think about, because you already stopped at, that's not normal, right? But somebody like you is like, no, this is completely normal. I got to remove this, outsource that, do this so that I can focus on here, because you're seeing past all of the, like, I guess it all comes back to like authenticity, or like comfort with yourself, because you're not worrying about being judged about doing that. You just think, this is the optimal path. This is clearly what you should do. Same with the guy, right? Once he wrote that list down and he was like, oh yeah, like, I don't need to be driving. Like, the commute is like a great quiet time for me to really focus on the things that are important. I don't have family around. I'm heading to some destination. I have this chunk of time where now I don't have to put 60% of my mental capital on the road, right? Now I can put it all right here on the notepad or whatever. So it's like a big challenge to think outside of the normalcy, the normal box, and just like, if you think that's a thing, like, fucking do it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I couldn't agree more. I mean, I like when we talk about investing with intention, so many people focus on investing in their job, investing in the stock market, investing in real estate, investing in their business if they're building a business. And very, very, very few people think of investing in themselves,
Mm-hmm.
period. And I'm not talking about going to the gym, for 30 minutes a day. I'm talking about truly evaluating what are the things that I absolutely love that I'm passionate about. If I could design my ideal day, my ideal week, my ideal month, my ideal year, what would it look like? What would I be doing? What would I not be doing? What are the things that I'm doing every single day that I absolutely despise, that I look at it and I'm like, God, I hate doing this, right? And it could be simple things. It could be cooking if you
Mm-hmm.
don't like cooking, whatever. It could be driving. It could be a task at your job, a task in your business. And I think when you truly can come around it, what holds people up is they go, well, I can't go get that chef because it's going to cost me money. It's always financial as well. It's either financial or obligation. They feel obligated to do it morally, or they feel a financial burden if they outsource it to somebody else. And I think it all comes down to mindset. If you can shift that mindset to, okay, if I'm going to remove these 2 hours from my day, 7 days a week, that's 14 hours a week. I mean, times that by 365 days, whatever that equals. That is a massive amount of time I'm getting back. Massive. I can't just take that time and go play on PlayStation or watch Netflix.
I'm gonna
What can I
calculate that
do?
out right now. See
Yeah.
how much
What can
time.
I do with at least a portion of that time to invest in myself, to invest in my business, whatever's going to make me more money than it's going to cost to get that time back? And I think we can all agree the one thing, all of us have the exact amount of time every single day. All of us, nobody's getting any more. So if we use a good chunk of that time, I mean, you just said 2 hours a day on one thing that you would hire out if you could, and if you'd made that determination. I mean, you could probably pick up 2, 3, 4, 5 hours a day extra to reinvest and reallocate. And it's just a mindset shift. Yes, may it cost you 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 grand a month, maybe? Sure. But what can you do with that time to make you 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 grand a month? What could
So
you do?
really, I just did it. 730 hours is, if you were able to scrape together that extra 2 hours a day, that's 730 hours a year, and so that's roughly 30 days. So you get an extra month to, like, if you can't agree that, like, if you have an extra month to attack one thing that you really think you enjoy, like, that's so much time. I mean, there's
It's
like
mind
some,
blowing.
yeah, there's some I think it was Jesse Itzler who was talking about the law of 100 or something, and he was like, if you were to dedicate fully 100 hours to any subject in the world, that and you really spend that 100 hours just in the zone, really attacking that subject, that you can be better than like 95% of all people to ever breach that subject, right?
Yeah.
So that's 100 hours. You get 700 extra hours, and you get to remove something you don't like, which frees you up to be a happier, more content person. It'll probably leak over to everything else too, right?
Yeah. And I think with that, it's like, what I like to do is I like to take that extra time that I'm basically earning back through my choices and utilize a portion of it to increase my income through other things that I do love, that I am passionate about. But I don't need all of it. Now I can use the rest of it to strengthen my relationship with my wife, pay more attention to my children and have time with them, go out and golf with my friends because I've picked up golf and I just love it, even though I'm horrible. Um, I
That'd
can
be a
use
waste of
that
time
time.
for you, Adam. Sorry, waste of
I
time.
can use that time to do a lot of things. And now I wake up every morning and I'm excited about my day. I'm excited about my week. I look back and I go, man, that was an awesome week, rather than, God, it was okay. I had a couple wins, but I spent 60% of it doing shit I hate. Like,
Mhm.
it just doesn't make any sense to me. So that's really the biggest thing when we talk about investing with intention. That's it, man. Invest in yourself and figure it out. Take a piece of paper. Is a really simple exercise you do. Take a piece of paper, draw a line across, excuse me, draw a line down the middle. Here's all the tasks that I do in a day. And then you move them over into category. Here are the things that I love and I'm passionate about, and I could do them in my sleep because I just really enjoy it. They give me a sense of accomplishment, and I never want to stop doing them. Here are the things that I do every single day. I'm talking everything. You can't hire somebody to brush your teeth, but literally everything that you do every single day, right? It's either a non-negotiable, like brushing my teeth, that I can't hire out. It's I love doing it and I want to keep doing it. Boom, it goes in that keep doing it column. And I really despise doing this. I hate doing it. And it goes in that figure out how to delegate it column. And you're not going to delegate everything all at once. It's never going to happen. It's going to take time. But if you can say, okay, here are the things, now I have these 10 things that I do every single day or every single week that I would delegate out if I could, and now break it down to the ridiculous. Say, I'm going to go on a 2-year plan, a 3-year plan, depending on how much stuff it is. These are the top 3 that I'm going to delegate this year. This is the one I'm going to delegate this quarter, and I'm going to figure it out. And this isn't me. I mean, I learned this from Dr. DeMartini, but you just start delegating one, and then the next, and then the next. And before you know it, once you're using that time that you've earned back, bought back, delegated out, and you're putting it into the things that you love and the things that lift you up and that make you more money, essentially, then you just move on to the next one. And 3 years, I mean, don't blink. It goes by really fast if it takes you that long to do it all. I'm not there yet. I'm still working on it, but I have delegated quite a few tasks that I can't stand doing. And it's very rewarding.
Yeah. That's one thing I do feel like I came across in the last few years is, and it's a little tougher again with kids because there are some menial tasks that like need to be done that, you ask the moral thing. I can't get over the fact, like, I'm not going to hire somebody to like put my kids down to sleep. Right.
Right.
Do I like doing that process? No, I fucking hate it. The bath, the books, the whole thing, the playgrounds, the whole, but they're so important developmentally. And I know that like just dumping them off to like a nanny or something, I just can't get over that one, but like in general, I've set my day up to work out, to see the sun, to trade, to watch YouTube videos that I enjoy, to talk to friends, and to like walk around the neighborhood. Just like shit I like to do. I've found healthy foods that I like, right? So like I could eat the same types of things every day. So caloric balancing and like trying to be healthy and stuff has become easy. So like
Right.
all these things have been, like you were saying, over time. Now I look back at most of my days and I'm like, yeah, I live the way I want to live. Now, when trading sucks, I'm like, I'm fucking pissed off because I'm losing money or whatever. But in the grand scheme of things, do I enjoy it? Yep. Do I spend the rest of my time the way I want to? Yep. Am I around the people I want to be around? Yep. Like, you can answer all those questions. Like, life's pretty damn good, right?
It's awesome, man. Yeah.
And
Well, you're one of the few I know that have it like that, and
right.
But you've sculpted your life to be that, right? You didn't go out and get a job that you hate and just punch in every day because you had to, and wake up and have shit traffic on the way to and from. You said you kind of designed your life, really, and you're still designing it, and it's evolving, but you have designed your life the way that you want it, and you're happy, you love it, which is great.
And there's like an unlock, right? Like when you finally kind of have it a little bit of the way you want it, it's hard to ever think about going backwards, right? Like where you are right now, could you ever imagine kind of like, this isn't working out, I'm gonna go find a job somewhere and just kind of like, not like you like unlock something to where you're like, oh, like I'm confident enough in myself, my ability to learn things and my ability to execute, that like I'm never going back there.
Absolutely.
But to get to that first step is where a lot of people are like, there's a huge gap there. There's a huge crevice that like you have to kind of be willing to take that leap.
Yeah, in my opinion, if you're, I mean, I've been unhireable since I moved out of my house at 14 years old, basically. But I think if you're going to go work a job, which I think, especially as somebody that's younger, if you're going to go out and get a job, you should get a job, not just to get a job and get a paycheck. You should get a job based on mastering a skill set and learning from somebody that's doing it very, very, very well and something that you're interested in, with that intention that I'm going to go out and build my own brand and my own business around this skill, around this thing, whatever it may be. For everybody, it's different. I don't think you should ever go get a job just to punch a clock and say, I hate doing this. Go get a job with an intention of, I'm going to work here a year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever it takes. You go in with intention and you build that blueprint on the coattails of somebody that's doing it very, very, very well. You learn what should he or she be doing better? What are they doing great? How are they growing? You know, all these things, the culture, all these things, map it out with the intention that I'm going to go build this myself. That's it. Other than that, I don't think anybody should really, I mean, I'm thankful for all the people that have jobs, but I don't think anybody should just go get a job just to get a job. It just makes no sense to me.
And the world's becoming more and more susceptible to doing the things you want to do. You know, like it's literally giving us the opportunities now to be like, you like this random subject, here's 70 different ways to monetize it.
That's exactly right.
You know, people
And
love
then
talking
and then take that active income and go get yourself a passive strategy. For sure.
Yeah. Way to bring it full circle. So what is the like the downsides, I should say, the scary parts of not having that job security, right? Like what are the tough things about investing in yourself and leaning on yourself and hoping that it works out? There's some scary parts to that too, right? Like the fear of failure, the fear of like, where do you go if something fails and you're back to square one? I know you've had things that have fell on their face. You know, in the moment they're great and you have it, and then a year passes and you're like, nope, next thing, right?
Yep.
So you've gotten over maybe the scaredness of it because you know you can just pick right back up with something else. But what are some of those kind of feelings you've gotten along the way of the scary parts of just being in this type of situation?
Yeah, I mean, I have a number of examples, but back before COVID, I had started an event company, like I had mentioned earlier, and we were doing large scale events in this kind of how I got involved in crypto and blockchain and all that stuff. I owned an event company that put these events on in Las Vegas, and we were doing well. I mean, we had done two annual events back to back. They were fairly successful, 2,500-ish attendees at each one, over 100 speakers. And I started that event company really with the mindset, not for the event company to make money, but for the event company to build a Rolodex of people and human capital that I could then tap into. So I knew going into it, like the events may be here or there and go away here in a few years, but what database and relationships will I have built of people that I can then do other things with? And that was a good mindset to go into it with. But the example that I was going to give is this was 2017, 2018, 2019. We were getting ready to put on our third annual event and COVID hit. And guess what? Las Vegas shut down with the rest of the world. So all of these conferences and 2,500 people gathering for 3 days in a ballroom and all these things gone in the blink of an eye. That business shut down instantly. Job security, business security, all those things, none of it's guaranteed. It's just not. And you got to just take it for face value, understand that that's what it is. I don't care if you've been working the same job for the same company for 30 years. It does not matter. You could get fired tomorrow. That company could go under tomorrow. The way that technology is changing and things are evolving and nothing is guaranteed. And the only thing that I've been able to attach myself to that I believe is not going to go away and can't be replaced is a roof over my head. Everybody's going to want a place to live no matter what technology comes into play and all those things. So that's where, as much as I love to build businesses and consult with businesses and do these other things because I have a very creative personality and I like to build things, I know that none of that is guaranteed. And I've seen dozens and dozens of them come and go, including several of my own, like the event company that I just shared. So I'm going to take that. I'm going to keep building those businesses. I'm going to keep being creative. I'm going to keep doing things that create an active income for me and build my social capital and build my relationship capital. But I'm going to take that and I'm going to deploy it into my passive income strategy, which is real estate, period. I know I keep coming back to that, but it's just really the only thing that I've found. I haven't found anything else. So
it's kind of cool though, because, you know, in the end, it kind of all roads lead to real estate, right? It's like it's America, right? It's a very big representation of life here, and like it's not going anywhere. It's got a lot of beneficial tailwinds tax wise, and the longevity road for that sector is pretty great, even regardless of, you know, office space that might be having trouble right now and all that. But like there's lots of ideas there. So in the end, like that's kind of your end goal. But everything else you're doing seems to revolve around expanding your network, expanding your relationships, which you're good at, to then backdoor into potential real estate, like people funding it or meeting people that are willing to do these deals with you or whatever. So you're taking your skill set and bringing it into the one area that you're kind of passionate about and you always, you know, have been interested in, right? It's kind of
Yeah.
it's kind of, to sum it up simply, uh, meet people and believe in yourself, and then like have that one thing that you can, I guess, build your active and passive income around, which eventually is probably mostly real estate at this point, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's it. It's pretty much 4 steps. Invest in yourself, get rid of all the crap that you don't want to do. Work on building relationships. You take that time back that you earn back from delegating and investing in yourself to work on building, get more time to go build relationships and evaluate those relationships to determine who's going to be out of the circle and who's going to be in the circle that you can be mutually beneficial to each other. Focus on an active income strategy, but in something that you absolutely love doing and you're passionate about. Because if you don't love doing it, you'll at best half-ass it, and at worst, you'll just quit and won't do it anyways. And take that active income and move what you can into a passive income strategy, whatever that may be. It does not have to be real estate. For me, that's what it is. But it's those 4 steps. And that's it for me. That's what I've learned over 45 years of life.
And you all just learned it in 45 minutes. Congrats. All right. All right, Adam, it was good talking to you. I'm excited to see what comes from what you guys are building with the podcast. And I know we still have to wait a few months for that. But otherwise, I guess, now that you're starting some social accounts, are there places people can go to follow you or to check out what you're doing?
Yeah, right now, and don't laugh at me because I have no followers, but at Think Adam Williams on IG, and my team is going to be moving that over to all platforms pretty much. And then the podcast that comes out early February, which will be on all podcast platforms as well as YouTube, is The Will to Win. The Will to Win. So look forward to seeing everybody and your feedback.
Play off the last name as well.
That's good. It wasn't, but I like it.
Yeah, kind of catching up. I was like, did he think of that, or was it somebody else? Because
yeah, actually, my wife, Dana, thought of it, and I was like, that's brilliant. I love it. Wait till you see. I don't know if you can see this. Here's a glimpse of the podcast cover here. Cover art. Hold on, I got 50 text messages while we've been on. Can you see that?
Oh God,
so it's pretty cool. It's like a bunch of trophies around us, all broken and dusty, and then I'm in a tuxedo and she's in her yoga gear, because it's the will to win in business, health, and relationships is basically what it is.
Nice. All right, cool. That's exciting. All right, well, thanks for taking the time, and hopefully we can get you back on like down the road and we can see how that's progressing and see kind of like the update on all that.
Absolutely. Thank you, James. I appreciate you, and always great to talk to you.
All right. See you guys. See you next time.